Right, let's get to more drowning. It's all about the fundamentals today: shelter, protection, and food. I'm sure these idiots have other needs as well, but we don't care. So for their shelter needs, I think we'll place down a tavern build and maybe look into some houses too. For protection, we'll simply place down some guard towers, which will not only serve to protect our precious morons, but will also have the added benefit of expanding the colony's boundary too. As for their food needs, we'll place them down a restaurant. We will need some farms or husbandry builds as well for actual food substances, but we'll start off with at least a restaurant, I think. You've probably noticed that I've tidied a few things up around here. I've brought most of the loot from the supply ships over and created a temporary base of sorts on these platforms. I've had the builder construct the level 1 town hall build just to keep all of our citizens out of the dangerous waters. I'm sure they'll still find a way to drown themselves at some point though. I've also gone ahead and made some more roads around the town hall, as you can see here. Aesthetically, I think this looks pretty awesome, and at a later stage we can upgrade them to a covered version. But functionally, I think these will give us a lot of infrastructure to work with and construct a lot of buildings off of, which I think will start off with the tavern build. Now, I've done a bit of research into this building and I've noticed that we do have an entrance to it with some railings that go all around the boundary, except for this little L-shaped part at the back. Now, from what I believe, we're supposed to take the restaurant and bakery build and have them come from the back of the tavern build here. Kind of like this idea here, with the bakery build and restaurant just off from the tavern. This is just a creative world which I've made so that I can paste down some schematics to have a look at them, and I believe this is the idea that we're supposed to use with the tavern build. You will notice that the restaurant and indeed the bakery build do not have any railings around the outsides of them. So I think this is correct. I still don't know why they don't have any railings around them, but from what I've inquired, this is the idea for the tavern build. Anyway, let's place down the tavern build then, which is again another fundamental building, and unlike most buildings which have 5 levels to them, the tavern only has 3 levels. But at level 3, the building is essentially at level 5. So we'll line it up here just beside the road we have, and that is the entrance to the tavern, which we will get our builder coming out to construct. And what I think we'll do is set down some of these covered straight road parts. So we'll assign these to the builder as well, and we'll deal with the shingles whenever the builder picks them up. And we'll do a second road towards the bakery just here as well. The restaurant build itself is relatively simple for us to construct, as is the bakery build. All we're going to require in is a piece of wheat, which I should have a botany pot here crafting as wheat. Perfect. So we'll get a bakery build on the go as well then, and we will set the restaurant to the back of the tavern there. Idiot drowned. We will set the restaurant to the back of the tavern build, but we will need to push back the colony's boundary just so that we can fit it in. Although I think we may be able to place down the bakery build, which is a luxury build, seeing as it will sit to the side here within the colony's boundary, and I think we'll mesh up pretty nicely with the road just leading over to it. Looks alright to me, so we'll assign that to the builder. And I see where that other builder drowned. Why he drowned here when he's building over there, not a clue. The tavern build will give shelter to our first 4 idiots, but we will need to expand out with some residences, some house builds, just so we can get more citizens spawning in. The residences are yet another fundamental building, and even at level 1, they are pretty big buildings, which get even bigger at level 5. I think what I would like to do is place down the house buildings just beside the other functional buildings like the builder's hut, but we have the same issue as the restaurant where the building will sit just outside of the colony's boundary, so we will need to push the boundary back just to fit these buildings in, which takes us on nicely to the guard towers. The guard tower blocks themselves are relatively simple to craft. All we're going to require in is a bow, and it's the bow which is going to cause issue actually, because we're going to need string, which means we're going to need to go kill some spiders for string, or find a source of wool. And I think I may know where to get some wool from. But before we head over there, let's maybe grab out a few iron ingots and kit ourselves out, just with some iron tools and armour. There is a vast ocean and several islands for us to explore, but for now I think we'll just settle with this ship in front, which I can already hear quite a lot of nasties in, including some strays. Well, we may as well loot all of this crap here too. There's some string, and I will just very quickly vein mine all of the white wool. Plenty of string for us. Yes, definitely plenty of string. So there's a few guard towers for us, as well as a backpack, which we can upgrade immediately to an iron backpack. The guard towers come underneath the military category, and we have 2 types of guard tower that we can make. We have the smaller, more standard guard tower, and we have a patrol boat, which is very interesting looking, but definitely takes up a lot more real estate. We may scatter a few of those around, but I think we will mainly stick to these smaller ones. Or maybe not. My OCD is going to go mental here with only 3 blocks onto 4. But then again, I could fit them into the corners here and still have roads leading off from them. That shouldn't interfere too much with them, I think. Yeah, thinking isn't my strong point. Let's just go ahead with this. And that should push back the boundary a little bit in both directions here. We'll maybe do the exact same just over here beside the bakery build. I don't think that should interfere with it. Sadly, it will, unfortunately, as it would sit in the bounding block of the bakery build. So we'll just set it to the side then. Same idea, we can still expand our infrastructure past it. Yes, let's do it. I've placed another guards tower just in the corner here, which should expand the boundary so that we can then fit in the house for the builder. And we have a nice covered bridge leading over to the house. I think that could work. But that is now shelter, protection, and a little bit of food established. All we need now to complete those fundamentals is a way for them to actually get food. And seeing as we will construct a bakery build, I think we'll just simply use some farms to grow some wheat. Then at least they'll have some bread to eat. The farms themselves come underneath the agricultural category inside the horticulture menu. At level 1, I see we have a bridge over to the farm building with 1 field attached to it. And at level 5, this building becomes very impressive actually. And I see it gains another 4 fields for 5 in total. I think we'll place down a few different farms, all of them just growing a different crop for us. So we will need quite a bit of room for that, never mind all of the husbandry builds as well. Well, it's an idea that we will maybe shelve for the moment. We certainly have enough to be getting on with here, and we really do need to start pushing back the colony's boundary just to fit these buildings in. So yes, let's leave the farms for the moment at least. I can at least supply them with the wheat they need for bread in the meantime. Alrighty then, builder. how are we getting on? We are needing quite a lot of items here for the tavern, so we best get to crafting then, I guess. And because it's now raining, our morons don't want to get wet, so they are going to stop working. Although this is a thunderstorm, and I think I best go to sleep just to pass the time. Oh look, a beautiful rainbow. Several builders later, and the tavern is nearly up. We are fast approaching 60% completion, and that is the beds now in, so at least our idiots have got a place to sleep at night, with the roof just coming in right behind it, and I do see that he's just using magic to bring in all the leaves. One less thing for me to worry about, and there it's complete. Floating torches and all. And our first visitor, who we can recruit for 6 diamonds. So that's not happening. We have moved on to start the construction of the guard tower next, which is going to require quite a bit of sand and even more stone. There is a village on the island just across from us, made out of stone I believe, so we'll head over to it just to check it out and maybe make this whole process of getting stone a lot easier. And I see pillagers actually, that's not good. So I do reckon that yes, we are near an outpost, which I am coming up here to loot. Just garbage from it really. But here is our stone village, and unfortunately it may be only stone bricks. Unless we dig up the cobblestone path I need to go. But that's a bit different. And I am still being pursued, so we're going to go up to the top of this thing, but well, yes, let's also go down it. And we are in a room with a lot of traps, I think. What is shooting me? Oh. Let's just start playing around with levers. What could possibly go wrong? Well, absolutely nothing happened. Excellent. What a shame that these buildings are made out of bricks. It would have been more ideal if they were made out of stone. Oh, and this is a nice find of a chest. Maybe we will get lucky and come across some stone. And yes, I do see you, trap. And this is again probably another trap, although we have a diamond in it. I'm sure there is a way for us to solve the puzzle here, but I can't be bothered. Let's mine through and just sneak behind. I may come back here for all of the redstone items actually. That could be very handy. I am aware that I am wandering into danger at the moment, just like that. And I do hear a lot of nasties relatively close nearby. Husks and traps. I did not mean to fall down here. And what could possibly go wrong here? Let's run through and see. Yeah, so much for running. Well, as usual, due to my impatience, I have ruined that. But we have certainly found a loot room here. This isn't helping us get stone whatsoever, but I'll take all this nice loot. This idiot just mined up the ender chest in the middle there, so we have some obsidian now. Well, at least that's an easy portal for us. We need about 170 pieces of stone, so we'll get the furnaces making those. We need about a stack of sand, which may take us a while to get. There's an idiot drowned, and the rest of the items are mainly jungle based, so we're really just at the mercy of the botany pot now, although we will require a colony banner, which is simple enough to make, and that should be everything. The guard's tower he's constructing is the one here, which is grand because that will push back the boundary in this direction. Bloody rain. And just from one Scottish guy to all of you, we aren't called something of something, by the way. That's not our names. So Claude of Sege, that's not a Scottish name. Now, if it was Claude of Bobag, well, that's more appropriate. The guard tower is now 50% complete, and we will need to make an entrance into it. That'll do. This muppet is going to end up drowning himself here if he's not careful, and so far Claude has been the longest serving builder that we've had, lasting a few nights. Certainly not an achievement, but that is the guard tower now up. So let's see how far back this has pushed the boundary. I put the marker here just to the edge of the boundary before, so yes, it's expanded it back this way a little bit. Just unfortunately, it's not really expanded it back in this direction, but that's alright. Once we get the bakery build up here, then that should certainly push it back. Speaking of the bakery, he has not picked it up, but instead he has picked up the covered road straight decoration, which will require these wheat extra flat lowers and flat shingles, which are made out of spruce planks and wheat extra. Wheat extra is simple enough. As for the shingles themselves, we go into the architect's cutter, put in the wheat extra shingles, and we'll select the lower. Then we'll put in the planks, and I think it was 20 of those we need, with another 20 of the flat shingles here too. Easy, easy, easy. And there's an achievement for Hometown, which is an achievement to have 5 citizens in the colony. And we can have 5 citizens in the colony, even though we only have 4 beds here, because the guard's tower comes with its own bed, so the guard within it now essentially lives here, which frees up a bed in the tavern for another idiot. On the topic of idiot, hello Barbara, our new archer. I guess you'll be needing a bow then, and that's the covered road decoration now complete as well. She will actually require some more items here in order to kit her out, and I swear that I seen a bikini as armor she can get. Yes, actually, and that recipe is very simple. What I've always wanted. Although as much as I'm taking the piss out of this does come with a Dolphin 2 effect, so it does actually come with a pretty decent function, on top of looking great, of course. We have moved on to the second covered road segment next, and that's it complete. So we've now moved on to the bakery build, which is a relatively chunky build for us to do. A lot of different items for it, and quite numerous to boot. I also see a creeper. Could we not? And I think just as another storm comes in, we'll maybe call it there. We have met 2 of the 3 fundamentals here today, shelter and protection. Well, so much for protection. As for food though, we have set them up pretty nicely. So we'll get the bakery build up, which will hopefully push back the colony's boundary, so we can then put in the restaurant, and we have a whole myriad of farm and husbandry builds to look at as well. So, plenty more to do.